Good, good day, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Talks with Tanya. I am so glad. Oh, see, we're on. I am so glad to be back with you today. Let me tell you, almost didn't come on because we were having a good old time in the green room today, keeping it real, keeping it real. And that's what we're going to be doing today. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Talks with Tanya. Thanks so very much for tuning in. I want y'all to make sure that you are good and relaxed. It's only water today. But make sure you have everything that you need. We're just going to go on with the show. For those of you who don't know who I am Tanya Bain, your host of Talks with Tanya, your most like digital news, information, and talk show, where we talk about what is on your mind. We interview guests of excellence, and I get to share my view. There's a whole story about that, but not today. You will find me here on Talks with Tanya and on Anchor FM. Talks with Tanya, the podcast. You can also find me live on YouTube on Tanya Inspires. Still trying to connect Talks with Tanya, but that's coming as well. And I have the opportunity to stay committed to educating, informing, impacting, and connecting lives by sharing information that can heal lives. So make sure you stay tuned right now. All right. Remember to like me on Facebook. I love me on Facebook. Not like me, love me on Facebook. All right. Take a moment and on Instagram, you want to go ahead and to Tanya Inspires, and you can, love me there. And make sure you hit the bell and subscribe to Tanya Inspires on YouTube. So we're going to get right into it today. And I am thankful for my audience because over time, over the past weeks, since we have been celebrating the heart journey of Queen Bee and taking an opportunity to bring to the forefront the matters of the heart, I have heard from so many of you individually, and I appreciate that. And I'm glad that you feel comfortable enough to hit me up and just have a quick chat with me about how you're feeling. And the sense that I have experienced over the past month has really brought this to mind. Many of us are all worked and hustled out. All worked out and all hustled out. And I get it. I really do get it because I was there for so many years. I attended conferences and workshops and healing retreats, and, I put in the work, and it changed my life. But I have to share with you that even as I was going through that, during that time of transition where I didn't feel like I was moving forward, and, I didn't feel like I really had peace of mind. I didn't feel like I was being supported. I see you. You work hard, you fail. You whisper prayers. Sometimes you cry out and you shout out. You shout out those prayers. Um, and then you go to the next thing and you pray that the next thing works for you this time. And, your health isn't that good and you're caring for your family, and you're in a situation that's causing your heart to break. But you're still going on. I see you. I see you. I hear you. I see you beating yourself up and smiling online in front of people. You know why? Because I did that too. I see you and I hear you. I see you and I hear you praying for focus and consistency and support and a change that you can sustain. I see you and I hear you. I see you when your hormones, Lord have mercy, are all over the place and you don't have the effing energy to do what you're capable of doing because in your mind, you have to take care of somebody else first. I see you. No big, it's not rocket science here. It really is all a matter of the heart. No theories, no big ahas, I don't have all the answers. But what I do have is a safe space for you to learn and build and design and use tools to get to your next and to your best. So I'm going to bring on two amazing guests. Now, y'all know, let me tell you something. These are Southern Bells, okay? For serious Southern Bells. So I am bringing up on stage the Queen of Hearts, B. Baylor. Welcome, girl.
Welcome.
And the illustrious, and I'm not just saying that because I like to use big words and I can say them really, the amazing and illustrious Dr. KenWana Vanderbilt, another Southern Belle. So, where you ladies from? I'm from South Harlem in the South Bronx. Where in the South are y'all from?
Well, I'm from deep in Georgia, born and raised and still here. So that's where I am.
Yes.
I'm just living a nomadic life. So I could be from anywhere I want to be.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
That kind of life.
Yes. And I'm glad that you bring that up because I've heard you say that a couple of times, Queen Bee. And we talked about it a little bit yesterday, but I'm going to be talking about in some future shows about hitting the road and getting out there and really considering other places that you can call home on the road. But let's get to the matters at hand. Dr. KenWana, thank you so very much. Dr. Ken, why don't you tell our audience a little bit about you?
Yes, thank you, Miss Tanya. First of all, I'm just so honored to be in the presence of such amazing, phenomenal women. I've actually been watching the broadcast for the whole entire week, and the topics, the heartfelt disclosures have been amazing. So I am a licensed clinical psychologist. Right now, I am the director of primary care mental health integration at Veterans Affairs. And what that is that means that we take the holistic person into account when they come in to see their primary care providers. We make sure that we're also focusing on their stress, on their emotions, on their spirituality, because those things really are integrated and go hand in hand. That is why when the offer to come on Matters of the Heart came up, I was like, yes, this is phenomenal, because that is what we really strive for every day, all day, making sure that we are paying attention to how the stress, the mind, the body, the spirit all aligns together whenever you're presenting with any type of disease or ailment in your life. So I'm just so happy to be here.
Absolutely.
Welcome. And thank
you.
Welcome
back.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Yes.
Welcome back. Okay, so Dr. K,
Yes, ma'am.
why don't you, based on the things that you have experienced with your patients, okay, and really the people that you interact with, what would you say is the major disconnect from the heart?
Mm, that's such an amazing question. I think a lot of people we come in, we recognize, okay, something's going on with my physical heart, but what about your emotional heart? Those things are so connected, so intertwined. There is, if anyone's ever heard of John Kabat-Zinn, he's a meditation mindfulness just like guru, but he wrote this book called Wherever You Go, There You Are. So, in essence, wherever you go, there you are. So, acknowledging that your body, your temple is a sanctuary, it is your forever home, your forever human existence home. And a lot of times we are not really paying attention to how our thoughts, our spirits, and our physical symptoms come together in order for wholeness to occur, because we're either focusing so much on the physical, or we're focusing so much on changing the thoughts, or we're feeding our bodies like the nutrition, but how are you also feeding your mind? How are you also feeding your spirit? So there's
Mm,
just such a disconnect when that comes to paying attention to your holistic care.
wow. Wow. So after Dr. K said that, Miss B, what did you think of immediately? Like maybe how could you relate to that personally?
That we really, really, and thank you for that great topic, that question, because we really, really have to stop, listen, and give the heart what it wants. Give the body, the mind. Holistic means the whole body. And I would love it if doctors and nurses can get back to the holistic side of care, because that's what's missing.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
paperwork, but holistic, the mind, the heart, everything has to go and be in order. If the stomach is out of alignment, or anxiety or worry and stress, then that whole system is out of place, Dr. Ken. And
Mm-hmm.
so as we are looking at women as a whole,
Mm.
we have got to discuss head to toe assessment.
Mm.
Absolutely. And for women, heart disease is a lot more subtle than it presents in men. Working at the VA, I definitely get my portion of men that I see as patients. And when they come in, it's the left arm pain. They clutch, they're saying that they're having heart palpitations, things like that. But when my women clients come in, it's a lot more subtle. And that's because women tend to internalize a lot more, and they always don't speak out because they're also afraid of being shut down. Like no one will pay attention to the symptoms that they're
Absolutely.
talking about. So they
Mm.
carry around these signs because our body is intuitively wise. And a lot of times we just simply do not pay attention to our bodies because we also do not prioritize giving attention to ourselves in regards to self-care and self-love. So when you're not paying attention to you, your thoughts, your mind, your spirit, then going into the hospital and wanting them to pay attention to everything that you're saying, is there's just this disalignment because a lot of times you don't even know yourself. You're
Mm.
going in.
So true. So intentionally, we
Yeah.
really do we want to pay attention. I love
Yes.
self-care. But because we wear many hats,
Yes.
and it's so hard to stop and focus on yourself when you're wearing hats 24/7. I say that with a vengeance. 24/7, even when you're sleeping, you have a hat on.
Absolutely. 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 And then that's when We're really in a revolution where we're talking about self-love and self-care, and people say, I love myself, even though, Miss Tanya, I know you love yourself because you've given me that love, you shared that love with me. But when people say, I love myself, sit down. I encourage everybody to sit down and actually ask yourself, analyze, do I really love myself? Think about somebody you love and see what you do for them.
Mm.
You give them your time, you give them your space, you give them your energy, but then turn that around and ask yourself, do you give those things that you're giving to other people? Do you give that same thing to you? Do you put that same effort that you put into all your other relationships? Do you put that same effort into balancing work and being the top employee? Do you give that self to you and making sure that you're the top in your life? And if you sit down and say that you don't, then let's reevaluate where your source of love is coming from and if that's actually true.
Hmm. That's difficult to do.
Mm-hmm.
You
But so
know,
necessary.
I would venture to say, let me just, and I wasn't planning to do this exercise, but I used to do this exercise when I was doing one-on-one workshops, and also one-on-one. But I'll give you 5 seconds to write down 5 things that you love about yourself. Okay. And what I want folks to do, if they're online right now, I want them to put that in the chat. Okay. So we're going to do
Mhm.
it in 5 seconds. Okay. So just put in there 5 things that you love about yourself. Come on. Oh, I'm up to about 15 now. So when you're able to do that, okay, and I would usually give them 10 seconds to write down some things. Many people could only come up with 1 or 2 things.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so why is that? Okay, Dr. Ken, what
Mm.
is it
Mm.
that causes us
Yes.
not to be able to do that?
Well, we're just so taught to play it small. And when we play it small, we begin to disconnect from our true light, our true being, our true higher selves, because we want other people to feel comfortable with us instead of saying, you know what, I'm going to show up in my true existence and my true essence, and then motivate other people to level up to where you are on a mental level. But when we bow down to make other people feel comfortable, then we forget and we get disconnected from who we truly are. And then that happens a lot, especially for Black women.
Hmm. What kind of suggestions and advice how do you help us be able to? And I want to share,
Yes.
there were some really great answers.
Yes,
I
please.
pronounced the name right, Eshe. Um, she loves her heart, her love, her
Mm.
creativity, her smile, her spirit. Yes, I love that.
Mm.
Someone else loved their short hair,
Mm.
their strength, their courage, their life, their dignity. You
Yes.
know, but
Yes.
everyone can't do that. So how do you help us
Yes.
get there? Unravel
Yes.
that ish.
Yes. Well, first, I want to just applaud everyone who was able to come up with things that they like about themselves, love about themselves, because that is so important to do. And then when you look at what society says, we have so many things coming at us saying you're not good enough in this way, or that is not up to par. But when you sit down and you just have a moment of silence and you acknowledge your whole entire existence, your whole entire being as a sanctuary. Because we were created, as temples of the Most High, and when you recognize what a sanctuary is, It's a place of worship, a place where you adore, a place where you feel protected, a place where you feel safe, a place that is pristine, a place where the divinity is. And when you begin to recognize the divine in you, which you can only do when you actually sit in silence with yourself through meditation. And a lot of people say, oh, meditation. Like, I don't want to just sit down and be quiet. But see, that's where you get your downloads from. That's where you block out all of the critics from around you, all of the negative influences that we have coming at us minute by minute, the news, social media, our families, family members, friends, just social groups. We have so many other voices coming at us, and it's so important to begin to sit down and hear what your internal voice says about you. And you can only do that when you have a moment of silence and you begin to connect with the beauty that you are. Because this is my thought: if there's something about you that you never thought about changing, then you must like it, right? So if you can say, "Oh, I never thought about changing that," so that you must like it. So we can come up with more things that we love about ourselves, but we shy away from giving voice to it. So begin to give voice to all the awesomeness in you. When we love someone, when I love my children, I'm like their biggest cheerleader. I say, "You can do it. You got it. Yes, rah, rah, rah." But then when it comes to ourselves, how much do we cheerlead ourselves? How many times do you walk past the mirror and say, you know what, you actually looking good today? A lot of times we want our bodies to function well. We want our bodies to do what we want it to do. We want our bodies to lose weight and have muscle tone. But why on earth would your body do that when you're doing nothing but speaking negativity into it? You're doing nothing but saying how much you dislike it, how much hate you have for it, instead of saying what you love about it. Just like plants need to be nurtured, watered. Like, how are you hydrating your body with positivity? How are you giving it the nurturement that it needs in order to show up for you? So begin to befriend yourself. And when you begin to befriend yourself, oh my goodness, the cultivation of who you truly are, that self love will just blossom.
Absolutely. I'm like, see, that's why I love you.
This is why I love you.
Because you keep it so real. You keep it so very real. One of in the audience says, I learned a while ago that I'm loving my body no matter what the flaws are. The
Oh
flaws
my
and
goodness.
all. How many people can say that?
Yes.
How many people can
Yes.
say that? Queen B, I remember you talked a little bit last week, I think it was, about, and this just came to mind, about the rituals that you have since put into place to care for yourself. What do you think about sharing a little bit about those things now so our audience has an idea of what you're talking about?
Great. Um, wow. Self love. That really equals a regiment, something that you live by. It is your regiment and you stick to it. And all of these loving things that you have to do for yourself, whether it's getting up at the time that you want to,
Mm.
stopping to meditate, making your bed, having a glass of water, being silent, taking
Mhm.
away all of the devices so that you can bring attention to your body, to be able to hear. I don't do anything before 9 a.m. It's all for me. And so from the time I wake up till 9 a.m., everything I do is my ritual for me. And those regiments are so vital and so important. If you have family, just get up a little early so that you be able to accomplish all those things, whether it's journaling, reading, silent, meditating, deep breathing, having a cup of coffee, taking a walk. Just make sure that you center the love for yourself around you. Sometimes we get up and we're about busyness.
Mm-hmm.
We're grabbing devices and the noise and the chaos and all of that. And how can you bring awareness to your body if you got all that stuff going on? It's a regiment for your body. In order to acquire self-love, you've got to pay attention and
Mhm.
have that time for yourself.
Absolutely. So that's an example of
Yes.
something, examples of some things that you can do. Dr. Ken, what kinds of things do you do? Because you have a major career, all
Mm-hmm.
right? You have a husband, you have two children, okay? My favorite,
Yes.
Vanessa.
Yes, a
Vanessa
whole ball of
Rose, hey
energy.
girl.
Yes, yes.
Tell us what you do in order to keep yourself grounded and care for your heart.
Absolutely. Well, you know, so I don't always tell this story because sometimes just being women, here we go. We like to keep things to ourselves. That's how we have a buildup of stress, and stress can most certainly lead to heart attacks and strokes. But the wisdom of my mother, and she just keeps it 100 all day, every day. She said, "You go work yourself to a heart attack." And I said, no, 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 I don't want to do that. And she told me that as I was laying up in the hospital, thinking I was having a heart attack, but it was just stress. So the doctor actually said, you know what, you need a little time. So it was like a little retreat, but it also allowed me to reflect on things that I needed to disconnect from. And nobody can create space for you like the people that you love, you trust. So my mom was there and we just had some heart to hearts in silence. If you've ever had be surround one thing, surround yourself with people whose presence is medicine for you.
Mm.
My mother's mere presence without words is medicine for me. I don't really need her to say because I already know what all she gonna say. So just her presence makes me feel the connected, the nurturing, the compassion. I most certainly meditate. I'm becoming a meditation coach. But the thing for meditation for me is whatever it looks like that day is what I do. Like
Yeah.
if I wake up and say, you know what, I think I'm going to dance to release some energy, that's my meditation because I get lost in the essence of whatever it is that I'm doing. You can actually meditate while you're listening to a good book because it's almost like you allow your mind to travel there. You can meditate while like walking, being in nature, connecting to trees. You can meditate while you're viewing the beauty and the flow of water and imagining how your life has these same rhythms. So meditation is whatever you make it for you, depending on what it is that you ask your body that you need. And one important thing that we talked about last time in the self-care session is always do a check-in with yourself. Ask
Mm.
yourself, what is it that I need right now? Right? Sometimes you might be running and running and doing, and you can sit down and say, do a whole body scan. Scan from your head to your toe. Just scan your body. Okay. See whatever it is, if there's any excess energy coming from different parts of your body, and ask yourself, how can I give you love? How can I give you grace? How can I show you compassion? How can I show this part of my body that it needs love? And a lot of times you'll find either that your body wants some rest. And a lot of people say, I'll go to sleep when I die. Well, you go work your way on to that if you don't sit down somewhere and get a little rest, because when we rest, that is also a time for us to reflect, a time for us to renew, and a time for us to recover. And if you don't allow your body to recover, then what is it working off of? What is it? It's just burning you down.
Hmm. It
Yes.
is. It's such a difficult. It's a difficult shift,
Mm-hmm.
And I mentioned earlier about the comments that I've people out of the people that I have not heard from, that I didn't even know watched me, that I haven't heard from in 10 plus years.
Yes.
Okay. Um, and people that I've cared about have said,
Yes.
wow, T, that was so good. It made me check myself. So when you said that, that's what came to mind. It made me check myself. You
Yes.
know, the experience that you had, Queen Bee, were you checking yourself really?
It was
Mm,
just it was survivor in survivor mode. Everything is like during the pandemic. Was I balanced? Was I in alignment? No, I was busy about surviving.
yeah.
Mm. Mm.
And
And
yes.
no, I was just thinking about Queen Bee and what she's offered as a nurse. And I think about my experience with my nurse, the time that I was in a hospital, just dealing with extreme panic, extreme anxiety, extreme stress because I was doing the most and too much.
All
And I
that.
remember it was like one of those late night checks when they come in and they check the blood pressure and all those good stuff. And I remember the nurse saying, "Now you know better." And she
Exactly.
said, "Now you know better, right? Because it is where I
Right.
am. It's such a small place." So she knew I was a psychologist. She said, "I'm going to need you to use all those tools that you telling everybody else. I need you to use them tools right now." And then it was just so healing for me because I said, I do know better. My anxiety, I can't even say it was on a 10. It was like on a 20
Oh
because
yeah,
it was.
off the
And she
chart.
had to cut off the chart. She came and she gave me a little oxygen mask. She said, listen, take this oxygen because you's about to just nut up and I don't have time.
Right. Put that O2 mask on, girl.
Yes,
Yeah.
full mask on. Yes. And just
Anxiety.
anxiety is real.
It is.
Anxiety feels real because in actuality, what anxiety is you're either so focused on something that's happened to the past and from the past that you
Or
can't
not
do anything
happening.
about, or you're so worried about the future and you're never in the now. You're never present.
Mm.
So when she gave me that little piece of oxygen and I just was present and I said, you know what? In this moment, I am okay. In this moment, I am protected. In this moment, I am surrounded by people who want the best for my better good. And in this moment, everyone else is okay as well. So I just had to make peace with myself on that.
Mm.
It
So what's
is.
your word, Miss B? Miss
Well,
B.
she said the magic word, and yes, Dr. Ken, I could see myself like having that conversation. Girl, you know better. And now
Yes.
my attitude, I adjusted it like y'all not gonna worry me.
Exactly.
Right. You coming in this place, you gonna come in with some peace on your mind
Yes.
because you have to go. And so I
Yes.
don't dwell in other people's. My cup
Yes.
runs over with
Mm,
things that are pleasing to me, staying present. You see, because I got a
mm,
lot of things to manage, and anxiety is on the top list of managing that.
mm,
And that's staying present and realizing and putting a stop to it when anxiety comes. And
mm-hmm.
I could have an appointment and knowing that I'm driving to Austin and I don't sleep the night before because I'm
Yes.
drive, all that. So
Yes.
just deep breathing and awareness,
Yeah.
stand present. Nothing is going to
Yes.
happen. And it's
Yes.
not in control anyway. So just
Mm-hmm.
stay present.
Yes.
There's so much power in awareness because once you have awareness, then you acknowledge that you have the freedom of choice. You have the freedom to choose how you desire to live your life in that moment. So, awareness is such an amazing thing to have
Mm.
Every day, every
every
day.
day and every
Stopping
day.
when you feel, just
Yes.
stop and walk away and come back, or wiggle your toes or shake your arms or breathe. Do
Yes.
something to bring the awareness back to the space that you needed. And I always bring it back to my heart
Mm.
because it's already been in
Yes.
a real bad situation. Open heart surgery ain't ain't for little girls. Let
No,
me
it's not.
tell you. And so I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Let me check myself.
Yes.
And I'm
Yes.
always doing that. Now, why you got to be worried about that? That don't even have nothing to do with you. So stay focused.
Give him the rest of that
Yeah.
check yourself line.
Yes. And my grandmother, I was raised by my grandparents. So I just love them dearly. I know that they're always with me. But my grandmother, she was so petite. I never saw her wear pants. She always wore slip and stockings just around the house, just for no real good reason other than for her to embrace all of her femininity. She ate fresh fruits and vegetables because we had a garden, but she ended up actually having like a triple bypass, and it was like so life changing because we were so confused because she was so healthy, always moving. I can't even say she ever watched TV because she was just always doing something. So when she had that triple bypass, that really opened me up to seeing how emotions really impact the heart, how your emotional heart and broken heart syndrome and sad heart syndrome can really impact your overall functioning.
Mm-hmm.
Woo, boy, you could talk. You could bring that home. Because so let me just back up a little bit for the audience that are new. I last year September the 14th, I had a major heart attack. Not one, two. Then from there, one day later, I straight into emergency open heart surgery, all four quads, all four,
Mm,
quadruple bypass surgery. Like, wow, eating
mm,
healthy, doing all the right things. But when you bring in all the factors of emotional stress, broken heart, loss, COVID-19, the pandemic, oh my gosh, it's unbelievable to say the least that I thought I was taking care of myself,
Mm-hmm.
yes, it just
Absolutely.
but it,
Well, in the audience, we had a member say, I wish a lot of people knew they had the power of choice no matter how they were raised. Okay, because that some of that is that what we've seen before. Because I watched my mom, I would just call her. I said, Mom, you don't have to be Mary Martyr. Okay, it was just like it was kind of a two-edged sword. Um, I love that she served, but at what cost? Okay,
mm,
at what cost? And I remember thinking, I don't want to do that, you know? Um, and so some of the difficulty in that, because I really want our audience to walk away with some things, okay? Because they can relate to our story, but how do you then, overcome? And Miss B, you are very good at talking about clarity. So in the midst of the struggle, in addition to doing the meditation, Okay, respecting yourself and your sanctuary and understanding that. Tell us why clarity of how you got there in the
Mhm.
first place is important.
Absolutely. And I'll get up and just do the holy dance because clarity is something that I want every woman who have a job, who have a career or a business, livelihood, lifestyle changes. You need to get crystal clear and have clarity around everything that you do versus chaos and clutter, because all of that brings about, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how I'm going to make this happen. What are my goals? Where do I go from here? Family in turmoil. The community within your house is chaotic. Everyone that's in your circle, in your family, need to have awareness of clarity of the whole family need to be able to sit down, have this conversation. What does mommy want? What does mommy need from everyone? I need to have all of these things in alignment. If I'm going to be mama to all of you guys, then I want you guys to be crystal clear about what I need from you all. Have that conversation. It's a conversation that every woman should be sitting down to say, how do I want to do my business? I want to be crystal clear about my lifestyle. What do I want for my life? Write it down, make it plain. Clarity about everything you do before you do it. Have a action plan in place for how you're going to achieve those goals and set them in little increments. Rome wasn't built overnight, so set little small goals that you can achieve that in your business, in your marriage, within your family. Be clear, because that's where the chaos starts, when there's no
Mhm.
clarity, anxiety, waking up, not
Mm.
knowing what your teenagers are going to do. They're, who's working, who's supposed to be doing this, who's feeding the dog. It's a chaotic world inside of a household. So be clear.
And
Clarity
that
about
is
everything.
that's so interesting because as I look at us here on the screen, okay, and I would get this very often, we've had all the same experience and we've all ended up, okay, I got a heart monitor on right now. All right. I mean, it's just to check myself because it's that time. But I hadn't been on the air and I don't even know how long because I had pushed myself and told myself that, I let other people and other situations and trying to solve world hunger and, trying to get everybody to vote and, making sure everybody got the news and all of those things come before anything else.
Mm.
All right. And each one of us, it is part of our story. So it's not, we are coming from a place where we know,
Mm-hmm.
and we're sharing with you, the audience, the things that need to be done. It's not just, oh, y'all just need to be clear and write it down.
No,
No.
clarity. You're going to have a breakdown in your body, in your mind, if you do not have clarity around the things that you're doing, that
Mhm.
you could tell other people and have that loving conversation and tell people what you want, because if you don't, they don't know. Tell your loved ones. That's the support you need. If you know what your goals for your life, for your business, for your job, let your boss know. Let the people that you are team building with. This is what I hope to achieve, and this is how I'm going to achieve it with your support. If I don't know you're having a breakdown, if I don't know you have anxiety, and you're not saying it, then there's no clarity around your situation. And that
Mm.
causes the demise of the whole entire business, your lifestyle, and it shifts to
It,
chaos.
Absolutely.
it absolutely does. And that's where everything isn't going to work for everyone.
No,
Mm.
but
Okay.
clarity will work for everyone.
Wow.
That's where you start that aha moment,
Wow.
right? That aha moment. Let's have the aha moment before
Yes.
you in, for me, the emergent, the whatever it was,
Yes. Urgent care,
urgent
emergency.
care. Okay,
Yes.
the drive through.
Yes.
Right. Tanya, it's the number
Yes.
one pillar
Yes.
for everyone's life. That there's like,
Yes.
we're working on 7 pillars for your business in order to succeed. And clarity is number one for your business. It's also number one for your life.
Yes.
Yes.
You're not going
Wow.
to take on a toxic relationship and be involved in this, and your body's like, I don't like this. It's telling
Yes.
you. And
Yeah.
that, get clear, get that
Mhm.
clear with yourself that this is not what I want. Activate it,
Mm.
let it go, stay focused, bring clarity to every situation. Some people don't like you to tell them what you need from them.
Mm.
Boundaries.
Boundary.
Healthy boundaries.
Healthy boundaries. So Dr. K, how can we establish healthy boundaries? Like coming back into, we've
Yes.
had that moment. What are some ways that we can establish some healthy boundaries?
hmm So for a lot of people, they don't like to set boundaries because they think it's some, bad word or they're gonna offend somebody or things like that. But really, boundaries is you showing other people, like um I call her Queen Bee. I'm already in that mode. Queen Bee, you showing other people how to treat you. And here this goes back to self-love. Like this is a protection for you, and it's not like I think for so many of us, we get boundaries very confused with building
Yes.
walls, right?
Yes.
Because when you build a wall, can't nobody, you not gonna let not nan nobody,
Right. Now nobody.
nan nobody get through. You can't get through a wall. They got to do a lot of climbing to jump over. But when you have a boundary, there's a fence. They can get in there some way. But you tell them, okay, this is what I would like. If you don't abide by it, then this is the consequence. But the thing is, when we give people the consequence, we got to make sure that we are staying true to what we said and
Ooh,
making sure that we deliver that
man.
consequence. Otherwise, people are not going to take you seriously and they're going to
Right.
constantly go against your boundaries.
So don't
Exactly.
negotiate no, right?
No,
Do
right,
not negotiate
right,
no.
right,
Nothing
right.
Don't
good to come
negotiate
after that.
now.
And
Mhm.
do it
Mm,
lovingly. I'm
absolutely.
not sorry, not sorry that I said no. At this time, I'm going to have to decline. Decline your
Absolutely.
offer, decline that task, decline it.
And
Now
when you
make me
start
delete
yes,
it because delete button is also
right.
available.
And you don't have to offer an explanation because when you
Oh no,
set the healthy boundary in the beginning,
yes,
you
healthy.
tell them this is what is. And here is what happened as a consequence of how you chose to respond or react to the boundary that I set forth in order to protect myself so we can engage in a very cordial
Yeah,
interaction.
right.
Mhm.
And if that warrants a conversation,
Yes.
and most of the time I get anxiety when I know I've said no, and me being a nurse and caring and loving, oh
Yes.
poor baby,
Yes.
I
Yes.
I just end the conversation so
Mm,
that I don't have to justify. I end it lovingly. Everything I do is in love. Everything I
absolutely.
do,
Absolutely.
you know, if I have to just shut everything down and take a cry, it's out. I'm not going to
Yes.
wear nobody else's stress
Yes.
because I told you
Yes.
no.
Yes.
And so that's
Mhm.
what we as women do. I don't want to hurt her feelings. And whoo, how if you have
Yes.
all those kind of friends, you may ought to look at some other friends.
Right. Some other
Mhm.
alternatives. And I love what you said, acknowledging that maintaining these boundaries are not always going to be easy.
No, it's
Right.
not.
And then that's when we begin to have our own boundaries for ourselves. Be like, okay, you told her that you was not go pay her cell phone bill this month because she needed to spend her money more wisely. All right.
Exactly.
So when she called you crying, um, are you now going to just give in? And then that just kind of goes against the boundary that you are setting up. And it's not because you don't want to be helpful, but sometimes we stand in the way of other people's journey of learning from life because we're so busy sweeping in, trying to save only because we're trying to validate the worth that we bring to their life. Now, if you acknowledge your own worth and don't need other people to validate that, then we're not always trying to swoop in to save people from learning the lesson.
Right. So, in order for you to be committed to the boundary, you need
Yes,
to be clear when you set it
yes,
and then put in motion the supports that you need in
yes.
order to maintain that boundary. Because so often, what I hear is that, well, okay, I'm setting the boundary, and then we are not prepared for the
Mm-hmm.
pushback. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We are not prepared for the pushback. So you really need to be clear. First, you need to establish it and love
Yes,
yourself enough to know it. And then you establish that boundary. Okay. I am clear. But then we also need to make sure that we can be committed to that by setting up a process that supports it. All right.
yes,
And that also enables you to sustain that. So you're not
yes,
willy nilly, okay? Because
yes.
that first no, they gonna come back because they ain't really heard that.
Mm-mm, they didn't hear that.
They ain't hear that now. That baby done bump her head. Let me
Mm-mm,
but and
mm-mm.
that's the way that you can get from caring about yourself, understanding and being clear, finding that balance, setting those boundaries and the systems to support you to sustain that. Okay. Then we're going to get to whatever the next thing is. And I had put up here delete. Okay. So I was just deleting.
Yes.
And then you got to block. Okay. And then you was totally by.
Bye.
And it's not, I mean, we associate it with a person because often it's that,
Absolutely.
but sometimes it's our behavior,
Absolutely.
okay? Because we look at
Absolutely.
ourselves in the mirror. It's like, yeah, well, da 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 did da da. No, they ain't do that. You allowed
Yes.
that,
Yes.
okay? And that's that acknowledgement, that accountability,
Yes.
And Christina, hey, Christina, she said, setting boundaries was always hard for me at the job until I learned I was burning myself out for the success and push of others that may not have appreciated it. Now, that's a whole
Mm,
message.
that's a whole something
Yeah.
right there.
Like
Okay. That's a
self
whole message.
self care for Christina. How can you love someone else more than you love yourself? I don't want to help a
Mm,
woman who don't want to help herself, and who
mm,
doesn't want it
mm.
bad enough for yourself. Why do I want it bad enough for you?
Mhm.
I need to be able to
Exactly.
support you and hold you accountable for what you want for yourself. I can be your accountability partner, real accountable, right, Tanya?
Yeah.
I'll hold you accountable, but I'm not going to worry myself about what should be happening for you. But your voice matters. Everyone has a voice, and don't be afraid to use your voice.
Hmm.
Yes.
The other thing is that I think it's important to say here, because when we're talking about, boundaries, care, balance, commitment,
Mm.
sometimes we need a little professional help.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Okay, we need a little professional help. And KenWana, I'm going to ask you this. What are some of the reasons that you've experienced that people are reluctant to come to, to a professional, to a coach, to a doctor?
Yes. Well, I'm so glad you asked that. Thank you so much, because this is actually how the program in which I currently manage came about, primary care mental health integration. Because for some reason or another, it is so much, people are more at ease with saying, oh, my knee hurt, my back hurt, I got my sugar up, my salt, my blood pressure. We can talk about that all day.
All them.
All of them. We can talk about that all day. We'll show up to the doctor constantly. But if anybody asks, well, how you feel? Fine.
Exactly. With salt in hand.
Right.
Child, I'm fine. Ooh,
Right.
let me get this salt. What you
Fine.
do?
Right. So there's such a disconnect there. So what we do is found a way to like go around that. And the program is so lovely, because it really reduces stigma, because we set it up and we say, hey, it's the holistic care. Like, you are getting this one-stop shop. You don't have to go to outpatient mental health, because I don't even introduce myself in the beginning as a psychologist. I say, hey, I'm a consultant on your primary care team, because the minute sometimes you throw in mental health, people be like, oh, I'm not crazy. And it's not, it doesn't have to be that. Like, you're human. And this is the problem. We don't talk about stress, depression, anxiety enough in our culture for it to be normalized as a part of a human experience in order to cope with it. So when I come in, just integrating, wow, man, excuse me.
Mhm.
So you just got a stent put in. Tell me how that impacts like how the activities that you used to do. It must be hard, sometimes losing some of the independence that you used to have. And once you're able to open up, if people had more outlets where they can freely talk about their experience, then they begin to warm up to the idea that professional help can actually be like a wonderful thing. And I might I'm thinking about if I'm gonna say this, but I might step on some toes. But this talks with Tanya, and we gonna keep it
That's
real.
what we
But
do.
we gonna keep
Real.
it real. I love my people. Like, my ministry is all for my people, because I know how much we have been impacted by not getting the help and resources that we need. But sometimes we will say, oh, I don't need anybody but God, which is true, right? God is amazing. Source is amazing. But sometimes he will put people in your life to help you and to assist you. And a lot of times they'll just say, pray about it. Yes, pray. But also, what actions are you going to implement along with your prayers? Now, the doctor can diagnose you, but the prognosis is up to you and your God, whoever you choose to serve, how you plan on doing the things that you need to do to recover from whatever that diagnosis that a human being gave you. How are you going to show up in your life? How are you going to allow, through meditation, through the downloads, how are you going to direct your path, and realize, you know what, my life is valuable and this is how I want to align. If I am truly a living temple, how would I treat a temple? How would I treat a temple? You would not put toxicity into it. You would love on it. You would not constantly critique it, as we constantly critique ourselves all day, every day. And then where is that peace? because by definition, peace is the absence of conflict. And for a lot of us, our conflict is so internal. We're constantly at war in our hearts and in our minds about what to do. So, seeking those professional resources can give you an objective view on how to begin to point out what those internal wars are that you've been dealing with for so long. So they just play in your subconsciously and you're not even aware of it. But professional resources can really help you begin to tweeze apart what's reality and what you are creating in your life.
Exactly, exactly. Hey, Rebecca, she said we missed the entire boat waiting on God and not doing for yourself. I never understood that. Like, wait a minute. He put you in my life. You
Mm-hmm.
have given me the wherewithal, the ability to complete the actions, but because it didn't come with, fairy dust and a magic wand, then it's not for me. Or maybe it came with fairy dust and a magic wand, and you don't want to accept it because it's not
Yes.
how it looked. Okay.
Yes. And let that be it. Yes. Yes.
Because it's not just one way. That's why it's
Mm.
holistic. And that's why clarity is important, and that's why caring for yourself, is important, and finding that balance and understanding who you are and using the resources that we have. Now, over the past month, we've had amazing, amazing experts come on. Okay. And it was really all the brainchild, okay, of Queen Bee, the Queen of
Yes.
Hearts, because she cared enough to say,
Mm-hmm.
you know what, I want y'all to celebrate with me. But we talked about it yesterday. It turned into more of an education, okay, than a celebration. But you know
Mm.
what? I have to say that as a result of that education, other people will be able to experience a celebration that they may not have had. Okay.
Mm.
We can't
Yes.
always see, okay?
Yes.
We can't always see the impact of what it is. We see with the eyes that we have, but the vision is so much greater. So I'm just so thankful that you had that vision, Miss B, that you were able to bring on the guests that we had. She even had her family on here last week. We
Yes.
had some technical difficulties. I don't know where we were broadcasting to, but we were on and we were having a good old time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that content back in here because there were some aha moments even
Mm.
then for the family.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And
Yes.
aha moments for the expert. Okay. Miss
Yes.
Pettit, who was just, I mean, she was dishing it
Phenomenal.
out. And it's
Yes.
not by mistake. And I have to say this here because, I kept saying, I'm coming back, I'm coming back, I'm coming back, I'm coming
Mm.
back. And Miss B said, you coming back. Okay.
And
And I got the whole thing for you. It's a party for me.
Right.
I'm like, oh, it's Miss B's party. Okay.
Yes.
But what it has turned out to be was really a celebration for me as
mm.
well, that I could still come back, you know, and share, educate, inform, impact,
Impact.
people's lives to heal. So everybody gets back on track.
Mm.
Everyone gets back on track. The people that we have been able to interact with, the ones that we've invited, and the ministry, okay,
Mm.
goes forward. The ministry goes forward. So I need to thank you. I need to thank you, Miss B,
Mm.
because what you intended, okay, as just a small celebration, I
Yeah.
can tell you has already saved lives.
Yes.
Has
Yes.
already saved lives. And if each and every one of us could do that small thing and care about ourselves enough, okay, to be
Mm.
able to share our story and then set the pieces in motion, baby steps.
Baby,
Okay, you know, Osuntala always tells us, look, girl, don't talk me nothing unless
Yes.
it's baby steps.
baby steps.
Baby
Yes.
steps, okay, with a little swag. Now we got the
Yes. Yes.
put that in there. Then and only then are we going to be able to achieve. Because if you don't take care of you, you can't take care of anyone else. Just like the nurse gave you that oxygen, the people, you know, she like,
Yeah.
little girl, take a
Right.
deep breath.
Oxygen on.
Right. She was giving me
Yes.
no empathy.
Yes. Because I
Yes.
have a beautiful zipper, Dr. Ken. I had a zipper
Yes.
down my chest.
Yes.
No woman wants to have a zipper.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
heart monitor.
Yes.
That's what happens, when you go off the grid or down a rabbit hole
Yes.
chasing this. Stay focused. It
Yes.
can happen to
Exactly.
everyone. It's not that heart disease just happened to be in my family, but it can happen to everyone. And I want everyone to be aware there it's no prejudice
No,
Mm-mm.
there is. There isn't.
Mm-mm.
And
when it comes to
particularly for
stress.
us, you know, the disparities in healthcare are real. Each and every one of us can tell a story
Ooh,
about,
yes.
if I didn't have the voice I have,
Mm-mm.
okay, I would have been just passed aside and other people would have been passed aside. Each and every one of us can tell that story. Okay, we see it played out every day on the news. We're seeing it being played out right on the border.
Right.
Okay, don't come up in here a little brown.
Right.
Okay, don't come up in
Mm-mm.
here a little brown. And we're
Mm-mm.
gonna check your dark hair too. Okay,
Exactly.
come
Right.
on.
It's
Okay,
so true.
it's not right, but it is. And no one is coming to save us.
Mm.
Okay, we already have
Mm.
everything we need
Yes,
within ourselves. Okay,
absolutely.
it's in our DNA.
Absolutely.
Whether we call it God, the universe, however it is that we
Yes,
celebrate it, it is that power that we possess within
yes,
us. Okay,
yes,
power that we possess within us in order for us to obtain whatever it is that we need. Nobody is coming to save us. Yes, Rebecca, I done said it
So,
again.
so doc,
yes,
Dr.
yes,
Ken, Dr.
yes.
Breathe, Dr. Ken. What just downloaded in me is
Mm,
you have a ministry. Now, I
mm,
know that that's the ministry, the holistic approach that you're taking for the VA. It's a great
yes.
job. But let's step away from that job. And there is a nonprofit holistic that
Mm,
you speak to us that we can
mm.
pour into your nonprofit and that you can help
Wow.
some people on the outside.
Now, did you and Miss Tanya get together before this?
I have not this is my first time seeing you, and I just as you were talking,
Yes.
I just
Wow.
vision
Wow. Thank
envision
you.
this is
Man.
you step out of that comfort zone you in because the
Mm,
masses out here is greater and bigger, and mental
mm.
health health disparities on your scale, on a scale to where you are, you'll be able to help business women, women who
Wow.
really, really, really need you. The
Wow.
nonprofit is your next level to
Wow.
stand on. And when you're ready, it's a download. And when
Yes,
you're
ma'am.
ready, come see
Yes,
me.
ma'am. Oh, yes. I receive. I receive that.
Okay?
And
Thank
I'm going to play
you.
this right back for you. Wherever you
Yeah.
go, there
Yeah.
you are. I wrote it down,
See,
okay?
that's why you gotta walk what you say.
Yeah.
Yes,
Because
walk
people
the
are going to
talk.
play it out and you got to play out your life. And that is, wow, I received that. Thank you so much because that
Yes.
has
And
been on my
it
heart.
doesn't, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And it's so interesting that, we have both seen that in you at different times. So from
Right.
different
Yeah. This
places.
is my first time seeing you, beloved.
Yes.
But
Oh,
but I love it how God utilizes me because we all have a gift.
yes. Yes,
And
we
God has given
do.
me the gift of seeing the gift in other women.
Yes,
Wow. How beautiful is that?
It's a
Man,
beautiful thing.
exactly.
yes, just like Miss Tanya was speaking about this starting off as a celebration for you, but then it turned into an amazing thing for her. And this whole time I've been tuning in and I've been gaining so much. And I even had sent Miss Tanya a chat. I said, I don't even really know if my part, if I'm going to be contributing much because you all have covered so much. I know, it's just real because
It's real. It's just a
I love
reality.
it's just a reality. I love the wisdom and the truthfulness and the rawness and the authenticity of what you all share. So this is just such a blessing for me as well.
This
We are
is
a reflection
wonderful.
of one another. This is
We
a whole
are, we are,
reflection.
and I
So
know
thank
what
you.
has just happened is that we have given voice, okay, to all of the awesomeness
Mm,
within us.
yes.
Ladies, Dr. Ken,
Yes.
we'll be
Thank
back
you. I love y'all.
so
Thank
much
you.
more. Thank you to my
Oh,
audience,
oh my God.
Aisha,
Yes.
Kiana. Hey, thank you, Tia. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Josie. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining. For our audience, if you would like to get in touch with me, all you have to do is go to Facebook on Talks with Tanya and click the appointment button and set yourself up with an opportunity just to talk with me. You can find me on Facebook under Talks with Tanya, under Tanya Inspired. You can't lose me.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Miss B, okay, B Baylor Executive Coaching. Okay, tell us how we can reach you.
Ladies, come and be a part of my tribe. Come and be a
Yeah.
part of the love boat, of the love connection, of building a kingdom, international, global. We can do it. If we work together, we can do great things. And so I would love for women to reach out, go to my YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube channel, go to vbaylor.com
Oh, I just messed
and
it up. bbaylor.com. Okay.
book a clarity session with me, and I'll take you
Yes.
there. I'll propel your business to soar. I will walk with you
Yes.
if you're ready to build or
Absolutely.
birth your baby and
Mm.
your gift. I will be the midwife for you.
Mm.
I love it.
Okay.
Ladies, thank you. Dr. Ken, you are dearly loved.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so
Thank
much. Next time
you.
you come, we're going to start out with one of your meditations,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
and
Oh,
you can
Yes.
play the singing bowl for us and
Yes.
we'll set it off.
Yes.
Be
We can
prepared
go
for
there.
that. Thank you for everyone. Appreciate your indulgence, but this was an amazing time. Again, join us on Tuesday. All right, this is our last session I'm going to have on matters of the heart, technically, because every day is a matter of the heart. But we're going
Mm.
to have Erica Neville, the money coach.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
Ooh, when we talk
Nice.
about stress, baby, it's about the money. Okay.
Yes.
So Tuesday at 7 p.m. Okay, right here on Talks with Tanya. Look for that. I'm going to post that very shortly. All right, and we'll be back. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on Talks with Tanya. Stay inspired, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.